Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, rulers, shills, desolators, peasants, vassals, minions, American citizens. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. And today I want to go back to the USA. I like to keep tabs on the fake recovery. And the fake recovery is in full swing. And this is important stuff to keep an eye on and look at the real numbers, because we have the Federal Reserve and the Obama administration echoing this bullshit about full employment. With a 5%, around 5% unemployment rate, which is total bullshit. Did I say bullshit? Okay, yeah, I did say bullshit. And we know that the actual unemployment rate is somewhere between 10 and 25%, depending on whether you go to the extremes of shadow stats or even just use previous formulas for calculating unemployment. And then the Bureau of Labor Statistics always injects its special brand of bullshit into the gigantic steaming pile of bullshit that the unemployment numbers are, particularly when one looks at the overall labor participation rate, which is at an all-time historic low. You'd have to go back to the 50s or 60s and find the kind of labor participation rate. When you compare that to the ratio and the growth in the population, we're talking about a substantial number of people who can work, who just aren't working. And of course, most of the so-called job recovery over these last 5 years has been part-time jobs, temporary jobs, and apparently that trend will continue. I noticed a AOL article recently that was trying to put a silver lining on the fact that workers would have a lot of flexibility in the future because temporary jobs would be exploding over the next 5 years. So that should be comforting. But so we have this Federal Reserve narrative about this recovery, and the Obama administration talk of this recovery, and it's a numbers recovery. It's all on paper. Anybody that's actually out there in the real world certainly knows this. But let's look at this. Some of the new numbers coming in that easily deflate this Federal Reserve argument, and that's the fact that the retail apocalypse it continues. We had massive collapse in retail last year, and it continues this year. And we didn't have to wait too very long after the holiday season, which of course was a bust. And we have all these retail and wholesale numbers just collapsing right now. So in January, of course, the big one was Radio Shack closing 4,300 stores, going into bankruptcy, 24,000 employees being laid off. Although I've heard they may have some of the stores switch over to Verizon or Sprint or something like that. But anyway, this is a huge chunk out of the retail sector. We have a store called Wet Seal that's closing 338 stores with 4,000 employees, and that's mostly malls. So we're seeing malls, the mall retail culture collapsing further, which is where a lot of the damage is. Body Central is closing 265 stores with 2,500 employees. Cache, which has been around quite a few years, is closing 237 stores, another mall store. Jones and New York Outlets are closing, another mall store, in December. Just previous to that, and that's during the holiday season. Delia's declared bankruptcy. Deb Shops, 287 stores. Target, all 133 stores in Canada are going to close. 17,000 employees, but of course we're Americans. We don't give a shit what happens to Canadians. Oh, wait a minute, I do, because I have a Canadian friend. Hey, Apagugu. Sears is going to close 235 more stores as the deterioration of Sears and Penny's continues, and I'm sure there's going to be some more damage for Penny's this year. And speaking of Target, there's a big announcement for them as well. They're going to lose 3,000 employees, lay off 1,600, and not replace 1,400. So that's another part of U.S. retail collapse. And then we have Staples is buying off Office Depot, and it's predicted that 1,000 stores will close. And so that will be, once again, that'll weigh on commercial real estate. That'll weigh on securities against commercial real estate. that will weigh on real estate prices, commercial real estate prices, and also put thousands more people on unemployment. And a lot of bigger companies are also affected as well, that you might think would be insulated. Halliburton is going to lay off 6,400 people, 8% of its entire workforce. U.S. Steel is going to lose 750 employees. And then, of course, the huge trend we're seeing with McDonald's. McDonald's is actually taken in the shorts after all these years, and they're really struggling and trying to reinvent themselves and appeal to all new generations. But maybe the damage is already done. They're associated with a lifestyle that is no longer trendy, and in spite of their rock bottom prices, they no longer have the appeal. And so there we have it. More fake recovery, more bullshit. And did I say bullshit? Yeah, I did say bullshit. And this whole narrative of the Federal Reserve and the Obama administration about full employment and this entire smoke and mirrors recovery. Of course, 2015 we're going to see a lot more of that facade come down. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.